So our numbers are open. You can call us. We want to get some feedback on the quality of our podcast for today. So you can call us on 0770 0770 So let me just entertain you with this song. It's called Oba and it's from Miata family. Let's just continue to drive this Wednesday as I will be bringing to you the focal we need talk for today. Take back your time. This crazy world is breaking and burning. It needs your strength right away. But there's no you never heard. Mother Nature's eyes. Ooh, take back your time. Take back your child. Oh, wow. This is our time. Okay, folks. Oh, bye. This is our time. So we say welcome to the Focal Women Talk here. This show is being aired every Wednesday at 1 p.m. But because we had some studio adjustment today, we are bringing it to you at 3 p.m. So I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to talk about issues relating to women and children. So today we will be talking about violence against children. As we all know, or if you don't know, our war now involves the issue of violence on a daily basis, right? So violence against children, most often we hear people saying violence against children, violence against children, violence against children, violence against women, and so forth. So when we talk about violence, most often we use the word violence without knowing the full definition of the word violence. So violence is a behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, to damage, or kill someone or something. So violence against children includes all forms of physical, sexual, emotional violence that has to do with neglect, negligent treatment, and exploitation. So violence against children includes many different forms. It can happen in the home, it can happen in the school, it can happen in community. So this time around, I even want to say that violence occur in the various churches now. So just so you know, violence have different forms. It can happen, it can occur in a home, it can occur in a school, in a community. Sometimes we face violence at even workplaces, and basically we have violence in churches nowadays. So the act of violence against children is wrong. Let me just say that any act of violence against children is totally wrong. And I stand to tell you that if you have been involved into it, you should post up to it because it's wrong. And moving forward is not something good to exhibit, or it's not something good to just be proud of. So there are causes of violence. So you hear people saying, but the whole issue about violence against children, what can really cause it? I want to know. So violence can be caused due to the lack of emotional bonding between children and parents or caregivers. So when we talk about the lack of emotional bonding, we talk about sharing feelings, we talk about affection, we talk about connections. Sometimes in our homes, we said it right. We said violence have different forms, and some of the forms include the home, the school, the community, and I involve our job sites, and I involve the churches nowadays, right? So relating to the causes of violence against children, the lack of emotional bonding between children and parents or caregivers. So, mind you, sometimes a child will not just live with his or her biological parents. At times, they will live with a someone who partly their family or that I really want to talk about, and I'm going to emphasize on it. Being vulnerable to your children or to your child. So parents should be vulnerable. These are things that cause violence against children. These are things that causes violence against children. You have to be vulnerable with your child. Like being vulnerable comes along with a lot of things. Like being vulnerable, you have to be available. Like at all times, you have to have a listening ears to your child or to your children. Your the space, the atmosphere should be pleasant for your child to be able to communicate with you, for your child to be able to connect with you, share their feelings about certain issues in the home. Mommy, you did this to daddy. It's not right. I don't think this is right. And mommy, I'm not feeling good about it because of this, because of that. I think being vulnerable with your child create the atmosphere for your child to be able to confide in you. Your child to be able to confide in you, to tell you that mommy, this thing is happening to me. Mommy, a guy decided to stop me today. A guy decided to block my way when I was trying to get to class. A guy decided to touch my breast improperly. Um, not improperly, sorry. A guy decided to touch my breast. A guy decided to address me improperly today, knowing I'm a female. Your child can be able to put on the table these things when you are vulnerable, when you are understanding, when you as a parent you are vulnerable, you are understanding, you are always available, you always connect with them, you are not busy always, you are not busy always. So if you lack emotional bonding with your child, it causes the act of violence because people take advantage of this. Seeking to understand each other and meeting one another with trust. If you don't do these things, your child sometimes feel they are just all alone, and whatever they are going through, you don't know about it. And these are things that causes the issue of violence against children. So number two, we have poor parenting practices. Poor parenting practices. For example, shouting regularly at your children. I know we are Africans. I know we are African. I know we're just a typical Liberian women. I know we are disciplinarian. I know we are biblical parents. I know all of these things. But sometimes poor parenting practices causes the act of violence against children. So shouting regularly. What is poor parenting practice? Shouting regularly at your child. The minute the child call you back there, you trying to cut something, or you are trying to make your way through something, and the child call you, oh, what are you calling me for? Like the child wants to communicate with you. The child wants to say something to you that is very, very, very much significant at that moment. But because every little thing or every time that child steps up to say something is a shout, the child shy away. Poor parenting practices. It's not always good to yell at your child. It's not always good. Let me say this today. I know we are Liberians. I know we have our culture, we have our religion, and so forth. But it's not good to shout at your child regularly. No. Shouting regularly at your child will sometimes make the child afraid. Like I'm talking to, imagine a child telling their friend, how will I even tell my mom that my dad is following me, is following me at home, is touching me at home? How will I even be able to tell my mom when every time I go to her to tell her something, she's shouting at me, what Tina, you can't tell the thing? What happened? When you see me on the phone, I have never like I've never interacted with a Liberian parent that when a child, you as a parent, you're on the line and a child runs to you and say, mommy, without knowing that you're on the line, maybe you in your room, the child open the door, mommy, and you just tell the person on the phone that let me call you back. I want to speak with my daughter. I've never seen that. Like you don't see me on the phone. You don't see me. What make you like your manners so? What you blast at the child, you shout at them, and sometimes when you finish doing what you want to do, or you get on with your code and you go back. So what's he wanted to tell me now? The child sometimes. Children react due to the situation. It's sometimes like, no, it's okay, mommy, it's okay. Chill, baby. So most often it happens. So poor parenting practices, one of them is shouting regularly at your child or children. We should stop that. It's not good. It's not good. These are things that causes the act of violence against children. So routine physical punishment, routine physical, like you continue to do it. This is a routine. This is something that whenever your child does something, you tell the child it will be your punishment. You tell the child, and you did it again, you will go back into that punishment. And we have a lot of routine physical punishment. Sometimes pepper our children. We disgrace our children in the street. Yes, this is something we do, and we feel proud as a parent. You stay behind our boy. You won't bring disgrace to me. I will naked you. I will disgrace you. I will pepper you. And we sometimes do these things. These things are not called for as a parent. These are poor parenting practices that needs to be worked on. Let me just say that. So if you are watching me on Focal Online TV, kindly make use of the comment section. Let me know that you are following me. And if you are following me here on our broadcast, that is our test broadcast for today, 89.5. Just make sure to call, or you can send a message on cell number 0770 0770 like that. When you send a message or you call on the show, I get to know our viewers who are always following us. If you are online watching, you can also make use of our comment section so that I notify you, and so that our viewers can know who all are watching or who been following us for a very long time. If you are just following this test broadcast today, you can also call on the show and share your experience about the topic under consideration today, violence against children. So, poor parenting practices, shouting regularly at your child, children, routine physical punishment like peppering the children, disgracing them, yeah, you tearing your child clothes on the street, nicking a girl child or boy child is not called for. Let me just say it. It's not called for. It does not make sense. Yes, let me say this to parents today. It does not make sense. Why am I saying it does not make sense? Does it make sense to nicking your child outside? Doesn't it to you? Does it make sense? Do you know the trauma that child goes through, especially before the same boys in the community or before some of these elders who have approached your child or your children without your consent or without you even knowing about it? Is that called for? And sometimes you say, I will do it. They will make to know that you small child. No, 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 no. It's not called for. Routine punishment. And sometimes we have other punishment that we give our child or children. Sometimes they go to school without lunch money. Like sometimes we even make them with food at home. So all of these things is poor parenting practices. There's a lot of ways we can try to punish our children without doing these routine physical punishments. So isolating children when they misbehave, like we sometimes, yeah, for that reason, parents, yeah, I sometimes at sometimes in my life when I was growing up as a teenager, my parent was like, because of this thing you did, you will not go for choir practice again. I mean, when I reached to this level, I realized that it was so wrong. Why? Because of some attitude from a child, because of some misconduct from a child should be isolated from going for Bible studies, from going for choir practices. Like, why? And sometimes, most of the times, when girls reach in their prime, in their teenage, they sometimes start to see people, have an encounter with people, with young boys. Like, yes, they are at that verge. They sometimes misbehave, but stopping your child from going for choir practice, where will stop it. Let me tell you something. Children are stubborn. Children listen when their parents are also willing to listen. So whenever you decide to punish a child, you sometimes have to sit down and understand why is the purpose of punishing this child this way, and If you go ahead and do it, what are some of the things that will come back to you? So, like you stopping your child from going for choir practices and you send your child to go sell every day. Your child can use that same moment or that same time range that she go to sell and go do the same thing that you stopping her from going for choir practice for. So these are things that sometimes it looks silly. Let me just say that, but it's not really called for at a particular moment. So sometimes we say to ourselves, "Want to it?" She like going for choir practices. She like thinking, "Want to it?" She'll come to herself. Yes, in some cases, some children listen, but in most cases, it does not work that way. So you don't neglect a child, or you don't isolate a child, sorry, from attending school, from not going to school today, because you say, Mama, you wait in a street what day, you're not going to school tomorrow, or you will see how I will pay your school fees. All of these things are poor parenting practice. Poor parenting practice. You shouldn't shout at your children regularly. Like, it sometimes deny the child from saying something important to you. We Africans, we face these things most often, and there are videos also illustrating these acts from us parents shouting at our children on a regular basis. Like, it deprives the child from being open up to you. It sometimes push a child away. Like, every time I want to say something to mommy, she just yell at me. She can't even wait for me to end it. These are things you hear from children. They sometimes say, and when you continue to shout at children, it makes them afraid. If you and the child cooking and the pot top drop from that child, you shout at them, hey, you will spoil anything else. You begin to lash out. Some of the time, these things are not called for. Let me just say it. Shouting regularly, routine physical punishment. Like I stated, I said you licking the child because the child misbehave. You licking the child, you peppering the child outside in the community is not called for. These are poor parenting practice. Let me say that to you, parents, and you can call on the show to share your experience. So, right after physical punishment, we have isolating children when they misbehave. You isolate your child. You say, "Oh, you're not go to that party, or you're not go to that choir practice. You're not do this," because sometimes parents say the thing that they love, we will post that to it. Sometimes we have to be careful how we do this thing. Poor parenting practice. So let's move on to the next topic. child can say, hey, Congo coming home, man. You have a conversation. Because that particular young lady always monitor the activities. It's like she doesn't mind her business, no, but she makes sure she get involved. She volunteer her time. She wants to know what is happening. Like she wants to know what is happening within the community. She wants to know what is going on with that child. Why always when your mom see you on the road, you will take 50 hours before you come back home? Why is it? Why is it happening? And most often, that particular young lady is not being liked in the community, all because she's volunteering her time to get to know what is happening within the community. Why is a group of boys just gang up in one house, smoke all day, drink alcohol, and whenever they come outside, they are fighting and this and that. She's volunteering her time. So to prevent the act of violence against children, you must be able to volunteer your time. As a parent, make sure you volunteer your time in your home, in your community. Even at church, you know what your child does there. Even at church, you know the if and in about your child movement. It sometimes prevent the issue of violence against children. So before moving forward with the other um, prevention methods as it relates to the act of violence against children, we will take a short break while we take this musical break. When we get back, I will continue the prevention method, and then we can open a show where you can call us on some numbers to share your view about what we discussed, to give your input about it or ask questions relating to what I just said. So please you can stay with me. My name is Greg Finan Courage Par, and I will be right back shortly.
Calling all the men, every single woman, auntie, or black, big woman, let us use mamas, come and save your child. Lump. Fire friend like me, fire friend like me. If you not want betrayal, fire friend like me, fire friend like me, fire friend like me. If you not want betrayal, fire friend like me. Bombay oh, fire friend like me. Bombay Jene oh, fire friend like me. Fire friend let me. Fire friend let me. Hey, see bestie, the bestie not sweet like my bestie. The bestie da la bestie. Fire friend let me. I say, see bestie wanting to wealthy. Fire friend let me. I hear them say they want me go. I say Some of them say they want me go. I say Some French la Some French la Some French la French la Hey, bestie, your bestie not sweet like my bestie. The bestie da la bestie, fire friend let me. I say, see bestie wanting to wealthy. Fire friend let me. Okoro, 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 okoro. They won't step on my blessing, but God get it breaking, yeah.
They won't call it my blessing, but God can breaking heart, breaking heart.
French, see French, come see Papa T French, and I want no back for French. And I want now when French. Wangolo, 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 Wango for bestie, Wango for daddy, Wangolo.
I say, they want me go, I say, I say, they want me.
Yeah, with your host, Greg Finan Courage Part. Don't forget to call me Courage when we are talking about issues relating to women. So I'm happy again to be talking here today on this guest broadcast 89.5. And I'm also excited to all of our online viewers who joined us today as we talk about violence against children. So for this short break that we went for and we are back, I'd like to emphasize that violence against children is something that we shouldn't encourage in our various community. Let me just say that it's something that we should we should deny. When I say deny, like when you see it happening, you sometimes speak against it. You deny that particular act that it will not happen, and you report it at all times. You see most of the times on the social platform, for example, Facebook, most often you see they have a lot of stories about parent beating that or particular child because the child did not do something, the child went to sell, the child lost money or so and so. But in all, it's not good to treat children. It's not good to treat children and with any form of violence, like sexual violence, domestic violence, the act of violence against children, let me just say this, is so wrong. And let's not continue to sit on it. Let's continue to talk about it every time we have the chance to talk about it. So our lines are open. 0770 is our number to call. 0770 If you are watching us on our online broadcast, Focal Online TV, you can also comment in the comment section, or better still, call. I'm here to listen to you. You can share your experience, and you could, after listening to the conversation relating to violence against children, you could talk about it as well, or basically ask questions relating to that. So yeah, I talk about violence, and we say violence is a behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. So every time you do something, you decide to slap someone, most often the act of violence is intentional. So you don't just say, I didn't mean to do it. No, like you look at someone and you slap the person and you tell the person, I didn't mean to slap you, like so the act of violence against children is something that we all need to talk about. So violence is a behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. Anytime you intend to hurt, damage, or kill someone, it's the act of violence. So they are all forms of violence. And we have physical, we have sexual, we have emotional, we have the issue of negligent treatment and exploitation as well. So moving forward, there are different forms of violence, and it can happen different places. It can happen in a home, it can happen in school, it can happen in the community, it can happen at your job site, it can happen even now in your churches, and a lot more. So let me just say that there are causes of violence. Like we talked about Sari earlier, and I'm just doing a recap. We talk about a lot of causes of violence, lack of emotional bonding between children and parents or caregivers, lack of connection. You don't connect with your child. You don't share affection. You don't share feelings. I don't know whether most parents can often walk into the room and say, I'm proud of you. I don't know how many times we do that to our children. I don't know how many times we say this particular thing you did today, it got me upset. The next time you do it, I'm going to do this. I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about how people talking about you in the community. I don't know whether we share our feelings with our children, how we feel. And I don't know whether we sometimes listen to how our children feel about us at certain point in time. Like living in a home where your children is free to express themselves in a respectful manner, it matters a whole lot. So lack of emotional bonding, if you're not connecting with your child, you are not sharing that affection, you are not sharing that feelings, you are not being vulnerable. Your child is supposed to participate in a program that parents are going to see their other children or to see their children and you are not there being vulnerable. You always busy. You are not vulnerable. You are not vulnerable to even listen to your child. If your child is supposed to say something to a particular program, you're not even vulnerable at home to let her practice it at home and you listen to her. You are not vulnerable. You are not vulnerable to sit on a table with your child to teach them good manners. You are not vulnerable. You are always busy. The only thing you are vulnerable about is those things concerning you or concerning your spouse. So these are things that sometimes causes violence against children. Lack of emotional bonding. You are not connecting emotionally with your child. It causes violence. Your child is not connecting with you, causes violence against children. They are not free to explain things to you. So whenever something is going wrong, they are unable to let you know. You yourself, you don't know. So poor parenting practices. We talk about shouting regularly at our children. I know we are African parents. I know that. But sometimes we have to limit shouting out at our children regularly. I'm just so tired with you. You ask too many questions. You just be, I mean, you can talk to your child without shouting. Mhm. You can do that. So, most often, shouting regularly at your child or children are part of the poor parenting practice. Routine physical punishment. I talk about physical punishment. Some parents will look at their children, they will hit them with motor pencil. Like sometimes they'll even look at their child, they slap them, like the child here would smash the wall. Like some of these things we do them on a normal count. So these things are not called for. And when you finish doing these things, you sometimes regret. You sometimes some parents sometimes have regret. These things are all poor parenting practice. Isolating your children from going to school because they got involved with the wrong crowd, isolating your children from going for choir practice, or because your daughter has started staying with a guy, isolating your child from not going to a program that partly she'll get scholarship for because of something she did. So what is it? Poor parenting practices causes the act of violence against children. When you do these things, sometimes it breaks the child's self-esteem. Sometimes it pushes the child into something wrong that you yourself will not even imagine. You always shouting at your child. How will your child be able to express things happening to her if your husband or your boyfriend is following your child in the house? You as a caregiver, if you have family members who are following the child in the house, how will the child be able to talk to you? The minute the child talk to you, mommy, hey, you see me on the phone? Why you get manners? Like I said earlier, I have never seen parents nowadays. If you on a call and your child runs to you, mommy, I want to talk to you, or mama, I want to tell you something, and you say, let me call you back. Let me call you back. My daughter wants to talk to me, or it's something important, I'll call you back. I've never seen it. Oh, all of our parents nowadays, all of our parents, it's disrespectful. When you see me on the phone, you don't come to me. Even if it is a matter of emergency. Partner your daughter has seen your period for the first time and she wants to you with so much excitement, or she's so scared and she wants to you, even on the line. Sometimes you don't even embrace her. You don't even show that affection. Like, why? Why are you yelling like that? Come. No, I'll call you back. Wow, what happened? Explain to me. No, I've never seen that. Parents nowadays shout at children on a regular basis. You know, when you shout at child, you know what it does to that child? It's sometimes, like I've heard other people say that it makes a child to be stupid. And excuse me for using the word stupid, but when you shout at the child, you make the child to be afraid. Like every time you come around that child tremble, every time you start to talk that child tremble, because plaster fall on the ground and you and the child is cooking, you have to shout. Because that child not take out that slippers, they touch your rock, you have to shout. Because that child, I mean, everything we do, shouting regularly is poor parenting practice. No, there are other things you do to a child instead of just shouting at your child. Instead of just, I mean, disgracing your child publicly. Like you look at a girl child, you disgrace her, you take her clothes. Why she in a yard because she did something wrong, you take her the child clothes, you showing the child breast, everything, in front of the same uncles, in front of the same boys who have approached your child behind your back without even you knowing about it. You disgrace your child. These things break the child's self-esteem. Mommy disgrace me from the body, so I think I get to hide. Let me just be showing my body Osana because the iron I see it. These same people provoke your child. So these things are poor parenting practice. You don't have to prepare your child before that child can learn. I've said that over and over to most of the programs I've attended as it relates to violence. You don't have to prepare your child. Sometimes you doing these things sometimes will lead to some damage or some harm as it relates to their body. So you don't have to do all of these things, parents. I'm not saying that you can punish your child, but these things on a regular basis is not called for and needs to be stopped. Family that functional and separation, family that function in separation, that functional family practices, like every time the mother and father is in conflict, every time they misbehave, they cause each other ulcer. Oh, when they're ready to fight, then all the children crying there. You can't, mama, and perfect. These things that you overlook, that you sometimes see, yeah, it's just traditional. It's something normal. Parents have to fight. It's not normal. Let me say, yeah, what I bring with it's not normal. These things have effects on children because of these things in the home. Because mother is against father, father is against mother. They sometimes choose their side. They sometimes choose their particular children or that particular child they want to interact with because of this thing. Once when your child is involved in when your child is mixed with a wrong crowd or when your child is involved in different things, sometimes you don't even know because you're so busy cursing your husband so busy cursing you guys are not even paying attention to your children. These things sometimes lead to the act of violence, and these are causes of violence. Family that function in separation, being associated with delinquent peers. This goes to children, and this goes to parents too. Being associated with delinquent peers sometimes causes the act of violence against children. You go outside, the only thing your friend can do, they can just drink liquor. The only thing your friend can do, they can just drink liquor. So when you get drunk, you come home. Yeah, every day I beating for that child. When you get drunk, you come home. I beating for that child. You go out, you come back. The only thing you do is you show that child weapon. When you go outside, you come back, you show that child weapon. You go outside, you come back, you show that child weapon. You're not even leading a child in the right path. But every day a child see your small bag, not nothing. And I get a copy book, nothing in a bag. But every day that weapon, that scissors, that needle, that this, that weapon there, you part of the headset group. I can just check people bags. So being associated with delinquent peers who are not thinking positively, peers who are just delinquent in everything. They lack respect for people and they're just delinquent. They don't care about anything. They're just so reckless about things. And these are your age mates. These are people you call your friends. So when you mess with these people, and sometimes young people like yourself, when you misbehave, when you miss with these young people, you sometimes misbehave in a way that is illegal or not acceptable to most people. And sometimes youth nowadays are involved in these things. We have a lot of cases relating to the election. You got mixed with the wrong crowd, you drank a lot of alcohol, you got in tax, you did things that you shouldn't have done. Sometimes when you even get drunk as parent, you sometimes lose focus and you sometimes violate a child sexually. And sometimes these things are not called for. These are all things that causes the act of violence. Being associated with delinquent peers, causes the act of violence against children. So we talk about volunteering your time. Like I said, prevention matter. So how can I be able to prevent my child from the act of violence? How can I prevent my child from not being abused, from not being involved into sexual violence, from not being violated emotionally? These are things that you need to know. You need to volunteer your time. You need to volunteer your time at all times. Monitor your child activities. Monitor your child in a community. Like I said, there are names we young people give to older people in the community. We sometimes call them Congo or Mr. Right or Mr. This because of how they are involved. Like every step you take after 6 o'clock, you're supposed to be home. You going somewhere, Congo, oh my see you, oh man. You are not going. I see you talking to that, but sometimes you leave and go to your parents and go tell your parents. I saw your daughter, she was standing in a corner and she saw me. She saw me, I told her to go, she's still standing there. So you volunteering your time, getting involved with the daily issue with your child, even at school, you monitoring the time your child come home. When you do these things, sometimes your child will not be faced with violence. Sometimes your child will not be violated. So discipline your children thoughtfully. Discipline your children thoughtfully is another method you can use to prevent violence. Like I said, there are punishments you give to children, and there are punishments you don't give to children. You can discipline your child. You don't have to pepper your child. You don't have to that girl child. You don't have to disgrace her. You don't have to lick her. No, no, no. You can discipline your child thoughtfully. Advise them. You can advise your child. You can set your child down. Fathers, most often when you see a father advising her child, and when she leave from there, she sometimes listen. In most cases, not even at sometimes. In most cases, that particular child listens to her father. Instead of her father just coming home and slapping her or beating her, kicking her, dragging her in the street. No, no, no. When a father sits with a child, you know what I mean? To have that encounter, your father sit with a child and tell your child, I know you have seen your period, this is something you need to do. Or I know you are following that guide, but look at it. Look at it this way. You think it's good for you right now. Look at the class you are in. You have a bright future. Look at the type of person you are. You have a conversation with your child. You advise your child. I tell you, to prevent violence against children, parents should be willing to listen. Children should also be ready to listen. Yes, it matters a whole lot. So you have to volunteer your time. You have to discipline your children thoughtfully, advise them, train them, and punish your children. Punish your children. Be able to punish your children wisely. You don't have to do these things that will make your child to react. Sometimes when you hit on your child, you hit on your child too much. Outside you disgrace them. Sometimes it turns to have a physical fight with you. Sometimes they tend to do these things. It's not called for. So you have to stop that. Examine your behavior. As a parent, you have to examine your behavior. You can't be a parent that whole day you involve into grandma. Somebody do something, they work in your yard, that person not speak to you, you ready to cross, you ready to fight. And then when the person fighting you, your child goes there to stop you, mama. Hey, maybe the person feel the child coming take your side or so, or the person coming react to them. They sometimes get the child wounded also. So in order to stop the act of violence against children, you have to examine your behavior. Examine your behavior in your community. Not everything you have to insult. Not everything you have to fight. Not everything at your workplace you have to be emotional about. You have to examine your behavior as a parent. Examine your behavior. Educate yourself and others. Educate yourself. Educate others that the act of violence against children is not good enough. Sometimes educate them about these things. That you beating your child outside. You see work in the community. One thing I want to ask here is what shows that a person is a criminal? Who gave the verdict that a person is a criminal? You being a witness? No, not you being a witness. When who gave that final verdict? Is it like when you go to the police station and then you explain your story, the person explain and then they call the witness. Then from that scenario, the police can be able to gather their facts and give a final verdict, or better still, if it is a big criminal issue, it moves to the court and the court gives a final verdict that this person is a criminal wherever they are, or whoever sees them, they should report the case. So only the authority, the national authority of our country, Liberia, tell someone that that person is a criminal. So you see someone in your community say the minute the person takes slip or the minute the person passes for you, roll, people start beating them. You have to educate yourself and others about certain things. So you have to prevent all of these things by educating yourself and others. Teach children their rights. Children have their rights, and we're going to be talking about it next week, Wednesday, as it relates to violence against children. Teach children their rights. There are rights children have. There are rights children have, and there are rights parents do have to over their children. I'm not going to back into that because it's a all big, topic for another day. But next week Wednesday we'll better talk about it. Support prevention programs. Support prevention program against violence. Like, so have programs, have seminars, have workshops in the community. Support these prevention programs that you can be able to share your knowledge. You can support them with your finance, your service. You can support them, and you can be able to talk about preventing violence against children. You can support them by having these programs, these seminars, these workshops, so that we all can be able to stop violence against children. Know what child abuse is. Know what child abuse is. Know what violence against children is as well, and know the signs. So these three prevention methods will be talked about in depth. Teach your children their rights. Know what child abuse is. Know the signs. These things will be talked about next week in depth. So our phone lines are open now. You can call us on 0770 I'm here and I'm just gonna be playing this woman song Oba. This is our time by Miata Family. You can call in, share your experience. If you are listening to me, if you are watching, you can also call us on cell number 0770 5746. You can call us and we can better talk about, you can share your experience and you can ask questions relating to the causes of violence against children and the prevention method against children as well. So kindness, you can stay with me. I'm here. Just continue to pull in your calls. Let's talk about this on the Focal Women Talk. We are involved with women and children here at the Andy Bobler Jala Foundation. So if there are cases in your community that you are afraid to just stand up for right away, we can give you our support. We are here. We have a gender department here within the Andy Bobler Jala Foundation where you can just walk up to us if you have facts relating to what is occurring in your community as well. You can come out to us. We from the women and children section in at the Annie Bobler Jala Foundation can step in and we can be able to have that matter settled down in constitution in constitution with our entity and in consultation with all other matters arising these particular issues. So please stick and stay with us. Continue to call us and share your experience. My name is Korish and I'm here to answer your call and answer your questions and also listen to some experience as well. Thank you. I'm still here for you. You can keep the calls rolling in as we take the short break. Okay, folks, so keep the calls coming in 0770 My name is Beckfina Korshpa. When you call on the show, just call your name, tell us where you are calling from, and go straight to the issue. Today's topic is violence against children. If you've been following up, just call on some number 0770 Oh, bad, this is our time. Women, this is our time to stop violence against children. Remember, this is a test drive in our broadcast today, and our test drive is 89.5. Remember, forecast should be transitioning to a FM radio station sooner. So this is a test drive, and we want to hear the feedback from our broadcast, and we also want to hear you talk to us concerning what you have just listened to or as it relates to violence against children. Thank you. Please stick and stay with me as we discuss the issue relating to women. Violence against children is everybody business. Let me just tell you, violence against children is everybody business. Let them call you names in the community, but whenever you see that a child is being violated sexually, emotionally, whatever it is, kindly report it and let that issue be resolved. Knowing that you are a mother, knowing that you are a father. Thank you. So violence against children, the causes and prevention. What is your say about this? So you can call us on cell number 0770 0770 Or better still, if you're watching us online, you can make use of our comment section. Just notify me that you are following and give your input. I'm going to read it out. Thank you so much to all of you there in Radio Lane who is listening to this broadcast today. Violence against women. I encourage you to kindly call us on cell numbers and give your input. There is no place to run, so we must take off and teach right from wrong. Oh, bad, this is our time. This music is from our musical room here and is from Miata family. She's our musician for today. We are featuring her. So you can call us and let's talk about violence against children. You have heard, and you can give your input or basically ask questions relating to violence against children. Mhm. Woman, this is our time to report all acts of violence against children. Woman, this is our time to report that. Keep the call coming in. Keep all of our calls coming in 0770 0770 Don't forget, this is the Focar Online TV. This is the Focar FM. Oba is a woman. Oba is a woman, a very strong woman. Obala woman. Oba woman. This is our time. This song is by Miata family, one of our renowned lady in our country, Liberia. There's this aspiration she brings to the table. This inspiration whenever she holds the mic to sing. Miata family keeps the call. Keep the call coming in. Sorry, keep the call coming in. Let's talk about violence against children. Remember, violence is a behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. So, whenever you intend to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something, that is an act of violence. Violence against children should be denied. Violence against children should be, abolished, and it should be dealt with whenever you experience that. You should be able to report it to the national police, and you should also be able to not hide it but to talk about it in the various community, in the various schools, in the various churches and classroom as well. So there are causes of violence: lack of emotional bonding, poor parenting practices, shouting regularly at your child, routine physical punishment, negating your child in the street. Family that function in separation is another cause of violence that you should know. Being associated with delinquent peers, you always drinking, you always smoking, and sometimes these things lead to the acts of violence against children. There are prevention methods. We see as volunteer your time, getting to know and getting involved in the daily business of your child wherever he or she will be, in the school, in the church, in the community, getting involved, disciplining your children thoughtfully, advise, train, and punish your children thoughtfully, examine your behavior. These are all prevention methods for children. So all of you who follow us today on Focal Online TV and soon to be Focal FM, we appreciate all of you. Time is running up. I don't have much time in studio here, so I'm wrapping up. Don't forget that the issue of violence against children is everybody business. You can be a father, you can be a mother, you can be a single mother, you can be a young youth in a community. It involves everybody business. When you have issues relating to violence against children, report it. Our office is open. We are located in the Tobo Village community. The Andy Bubla Jara Foundation is here to talk about those things to help resolve some of these issues we face in our community, especially violence against children, violence against women. We have the gender department here at the ABJ Foundation. Our office is open from Monday to Saturday at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So you can make use of our office time, report any act of violence against children or women within your community or environment. So thank you folks for joining us today. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you for joining us. I will be back next week, and this is how I wrap things up. Violence is a behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. There are causes of violence: lack of emotional bonding. Parents, we lack emotional bonding with our children. We lack connection, we lack affection, we lack sharing feelings, being vulnerable. Poor parenting practices. Shouting regularly at our children is not good and is not called for. Family that function in separation, fighting, always in conflict, can cause violence for our children. Being associated with delinquent peers, we always in the habit of drinking, smoking, yes, doing these things that are bad. Prevention of violence against children, volunteer your time, discipline your children thoughtfully, examine your behavior as a parent, educate yourself and others as it relates to violence against children, teach children their rights, support prevention measures and programs, know what child abuse is, and know the sign. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Greg Finan Karajpa. This is how I say happy pretty ladies night to all of you who will be having a pleasant night at the Vera bars and entertainment centers. Happy pretty ladies night to all of you. Enjoy yourself. Don't forget to do away with violence. Bye bye.